Hey, Donny here. It's, oh man, what day is it? Tuesday? No, Wednesday. 27th, that's right. Okay, December 27th, day after Boxing Day, because yesterday was my mom's birthday. I went out and seen my mom, gave her a nice little present, then went and seen my friend Dave in Victoria. That's in a, kind of an old folks home, dementia home, and took him out for coffee, and yeah, I did a good deed. Came back home, hung out home last night by myself, and this morning started cleaning up my garage and bought a couple sawhorses from Canadian Tire. They were on sale. I don't know, it was $50 or something for these two steel sawhorses that hold 300 pounds. So it's holding my old vintage cart just perfect. From what I've researched and talked to some, or not talked to, but just messaged guys on the vintage go-kart site in the U.S. This is actually a 1961 Fox cart with these weldment ribs across it, okay? So I think these are original wheels in the front. Not sure if the original upholstery, but it's a darn good job. I kind of think it's original because even the frame here and like your tie rods and stuff are all in really good shape. You know, I really think this thing is mostly original. It's got this really cool slide up and down mount for the 91B1 to go up and down to adjust your chain. I have noticed the grub screws for the sprocket or the sprocket carrier are no good, but I do actually have a brand new one of these sprocket carriers for a 1-inch axle with a 72 tooth sprocket that I'm going to put on here. And I'm going to order some wheels and tires for the rear end here. It's got like a max torque type clutch on it. Hopefully, obviously someone put it on there and it was working. So my idea of this is to get it running first and just go do a little rip around the neighborhood out here. And then I'm going to take it apart and totally restore it. I have the brand new 91B1 engine here that I've had for years that I'm probably going to put on it. And just keep this one for parts and maybe rebuild it. I actually have another couple 91B1 crankshafts. So I should be able to fix this one for a spare. And my other vintage cart, which is an Enduro, this is what they call a sprint cart. Sprint carts are made for small closed circuit courses that are like, 8-10 corners, 40-second lap type thing, where the Enduros, they have the long gas tanks on the side. You lay down in it, and they're for like 1 hour races on road courses like Laguna Seca, Portland, Daytona, stuff like that. Someone's had adapted looks like a Mako type Yamaha pipe on here and welded a whole bunch of header stuff on here, which is cool. They did a good job. They were just trying to make it work, right? But I'll be getting rid of that and try to put on the more stock type system that I had on, either a gem type can muffler or maybe another type tune pipe with a different header like so, okay? We'll see how that works out. If I have the right angled header once the motor is laying down like that one there, right? Someone has built a brake system for this, which is fine. Maybe the fellow I got it from did, but it needs a little bit of adjustment. But I'd like to find an original either drum style brake for this, or I might just get a manual disc brake for it and run a rod up to the pedal there. We'll see how it goes. Someone did an okay job building this. It seems to work. It just drags a bit. But maybe I can make that work just to do a little rip around before I totally restore it. I plan on going to the go-kart track in the spring here and run this just to show people an old cart that, from the 60s, like old Don Knotts used to drive around, which I told you guys before. Yeah, I looked that up, man, on the internet. Don Knotts McCullough go-karts, man. It's totally funny. These things, yeah, your knees are way up in the air. No protection on them at all, but that was racing. That's open wheel racing. Just really neat. So the problem with this cart, and I'll show you right now, with this engine, I should say, not the kart. Right here, crankshaft, okay? The keyway, obviously someone had the flywheel nut loose or something and it sheared the keyway and broke part of the crankshaft. So I'm thinking just to get this thing running, I'm gonna put a keyway in here and I'm gonna JB weld it. I'm gonna put the flywheel back on and tighten the crap out of the nut so it holds on good, at least so I can get it running, okay? So I can at least maybe go down the road here and be an idiot and smoke out the neighborhood. Just have a little bit of fun before I start taking it apart and redoing it totally. I really want to make a better brake system for it, some sort of different wheels. These ones are okay, but I'd rather have more of the standard wheels they came with or something else. Maybe something from Isuzu, California, or Isuzu Karting in California. They make mini bike and go-kart stuff. So see how it goes. But yeah, 1961, holy crap. I believe McCulloch 91B ones were started to be made in around 1968. I might be wrong there, but I did look that up and I have a sheet printed out that shows you the serial numbers of these engines. So it was probably actually originally this go-kart, if someone had it with McCulloch, might have been a Mac 10 or a Mac 30 in those days, okay? Not the 91B. So it doesn't matter to me. I am going to put a 91B on it because I do not have any other type of McCulloch motors besides 91Bs and 101s. So see how it goes. Hopefully this carburetor is in good shape too. I do have a few more BDC type McCulloch carburetors that I acquired from a friend of mine down in Victoria. And I have a few that my dad gave me. So I should be able to get it going, but I do need to get some carb kits for BDCs. And I believe on the vintage kart side, I figured out who I can order them from. Maybe Terry Ives or some of the dudes down in the US there. In Canada, it's really hard to find anything like this. Okay, I just made a video of this kart and then talking about some stuff. Then for some reason my phone went weird. So I'm just gonna finish it off now and explain this to you guys. So I did explain what I'm gonna do with this kart and whatnot, about the engine, about the keyway being kind of sheared. I'm gonna try to fix that and go from there. See how that goes, blah, 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 eh? So, yeah, I'll make it work though. And at least go around and be an idiot and rip around the neighborhood. Then I'll come back and restore this thing properly. It's pretty cool. Years ago, in the kart racing circuit, Pacific Northwest, I think I've told you guys this before, but I'm going to tell you again, I don't care. Oregon, Washington, BC, we had the Gold Cup Series. I was the last guy to run McCulloch's. I was the last guy to run these 91B1 engines. And Jim Walker has passed now. He was the race director, or I should say race director? Yeah, he was kind of the race director, or guy that made sure everyone lined up properly and got ready to go when the karts go out, right? Like the pit steward kind of thing, right? Great guy. So not related to me though, just his last name's the same. I remember him saying, when the McCulloch starts, then everyone else starts. Because I was the only McCulloch, and I just love that guy. I actually have a t-shirt from him, the Jim Walker Memorial t-shirt. Just a cool guy. Met a lot of great people in go-kart racing, logger sports, all sorts of stuff years ago, you know. But that was just a very good moment of listening to him saying that and doing that. So yeah, I was the last guy to ever run these motors, man, in like Oregon, Washington, and BC. But me and Johnny Sutton, my dad built engines for Johnny Sutton, which was a pro kart racer, or is a pro kart racer. He just won a local series here again, and very, very proud of him for that. Good friend of mine. Love you, buddy. And my dad used to go over and tune his carburetor for him all the time. lot of young kids didn't know how to tune the carburetors on the go-kart engines, I should say. And so my dad would go around and help them out, right? Because he was an expert on them. I remember going practicing with my go-kart at this place out in Duke Point. There, before all the industrial stuff got built out there, the roads got paved. I mean, my dad would go out there with my old kart with a Mac on it, 91B, and he would teach me how to tune the carburetor. So that's how I learned how to tune carburetors on saws and on karts. And that was the ticket, man. You had to know how to tune the carb to be fast and to save the motor from seizing. You know, these things, the go-kart engines and the newer ones like Yamahas, Pirellas, Comets, all sorts of different ones, you know, they rev high, man. Like, you know, 15,000 to 20,000 RPM. So, you know, you got to be on the jets, you know, riching it up. So what you would do on a lot of the go-karts at the end of the straightaway, on like the Formula type A motors and stuff, rotary valves, 100 cc's that rev like 20,000 RPM. End of the straightaway, you would just like reach your hand over and hit the carburetor or the air box and richen it up. It would richen it up like crazy and cool it down right away. Then blah, you come out of the next corner. But if you didn't do that, you would seize the motor if you didn't know how to tune the carburetor right. But these old Macs, they were quite tricky too. Some guys used to put their finger in the foam filter. They would run a foam filter and put their finger in and shut this dunk valve thing off. And so they come out of the corner better. But there were some tricks to it. And the best racers knew those tricks. So very cool. McCulloch kart engines were famous all over the world. And I was lucky enough that my dad had a friend named Jim Barbie down in the U.S., lived in Long Beach, California. We went down and stayed at his house many a times. And he was able to hook us up with the racing division and helped us out with getting some great kart engines to race with. I remember one time I had a McCulloch, I think it was a 101 motor, 125cc one. We were running on alcohol, and I had a slippy pipe. What the slippy pipe was basically a tune pipe like this with a stinger on it. But the stinger, you could adjust it shorter and longer. So I had a control on my steering wheel, like a lever, right? I'd pull the lever in and it would adjust the stinger shorter as I went down the straightaway and get me a lot more RPM and maybe a lot faster. That motor and kart, I set a track record at a stock car track at Saratoga Speedway in Courtenay, BC, or Black Creek, BC. Let's call it that. And it took years for a car to beat my time in this go-kart until sprint cars came around. So I was pretty proud of that. I remember getting the trophy, and I remember the announcer at the racetrack. He was like, "Oh my God," he's like, "this is like the warrior of go-kart, just beat the track record." And I held it for years. I think it was like 15.2 something. I can't remember it. I remember on the trophy I had from that, I wrote the number down on it, and then I lost that trophy. I moved many a times and different situations in my lifetime that I didn't keep that. Okay, but pretty cool. So the old McCullochs. Yeah, I remember there was actually a write-up in a magazine. Yeah, the Monster McCulloch by Donny Walker. Yeah, or Bobby Walker. Yeah, because my dad built it, of course. Yeah, he knew how to make those motors go. Love you, Dad. Love you, Mom. And good memories, man. I think I had some sort of problem with that motor that night. And the next day we raced at Grandview Bowl in Nanaimo stock car track. And the top of the piston had a hole in it. So it was obviously from pre-detonation. And I don't know what my dad did that happened. But that motor, we still made it run. Like he started it up and we wound it over and over. He had an SP81 chainsaw motor with a belt drive that he would run to the crankshaft here, pulling on the motor, and that's how we started it. We never had a hand start. There's no way you'd hand start him. And he whip it over and he got it going, and we ran that thing and actually raced with a hole in the top of the piston. You know, being a reed valve engine with a hole in the piston, it still ran enough to actually finish that race that day. I couldn't believe it. We didn't win that day though, but we definitely won the night before when that thing didn't have a hole in the piston and set track record. So that was very cool. Good memories in life. I can't believe I remember that stuff, but I do. And it's nothing like remembering good memories. Excuse me. Hey, keep your solid wood, stick in the ice, rubber in the road. Keep remembering old things. Have a good time, man. Go see your parents. Even though you don't get along with them or something going on in life, just go see them anyways. Kill people with kindness. That's the way to do it. If you got people in life that you don't get along with, just kill them with kindness. And they'll come around. They always do. Have a great night. Love you all there. Thanks for subscribing to me. Have a good day. Bye.